I built a tool that finds every winning ad in your niche, breaks down why they work, and then creates new ones in your own voice. Normally, ad spy tools charge anywhere between $100 to $150 a month for something like this. But this specific tool costs just a few cents to run, and I'm giving it to you for free. So let's jump into my computer so I can show you exactly how this works and how you can download it so you can start using it today. So let me break down exactly how it's gonna work. And I have this Miro board to show you. So it's pretty straightforward, okay? So essentially you're gonna download the zip file that's under this video in the link below. And you're gonna open up that folder in a Claude code session. When you start it, you're gonna say run the ad thief folder. It's gonna ask you to paste in or drop in your website ads or just any information on what you sell, or if you're doing this for a client, what they sell. And the more detailed you can be, the better, because it will give you better outputs. So use your best judgment, but honestly, it should work fine with just your website or any ads you have. The way that the LLMs work nowadays, they're very smart, so they can infer a lot from a little bit of information. It's going to ask you for two API keys. One is going to be your Claude API key. So this is slightly different than your Claude subscription. So the API key is a separate thing that gets billed separately. So you might have to load like $5 to $20 on it. It's not going to cost you that much to actually run this, but you do need to have a little bit of balance on your account so that you can test this. But $5 to $20 should be enough to like run you for a crap ton of runs. Okay, and then the second thing it's going to ask you is the API key for the scraper tool that we use. And so once it scrapes the meta ad library, it's going to find about 200 different ads based on the information you gave it. So it'll figure out what competitors are in your niche, and you can even name specific competitors if you want. If you want to, scrape specific ads from a specific competitor, okay? So then what happens is it's going to take those 200 ads and it's going to filter them by impressions. So ideally, you only really want to scrape / take information from ads that have a ton of impressions, because that means that the advertiser is spending money on it. So we don't want all the ads that your competitors are just starting to test or like aren't winners. So with Facebook ads library, it filters by whichever ads have the most impressions. So that's what Claude's also going to do here. Okay. So then once it finds those about 30 different ads, it's going to break down the psychology of each ad. So it's going to look at the ad. If it's a video, it's going to watch it, or if it's a static ad, it's going to basically understand the full ad. It's going to break it down, and then it's going to give you the big idea, the promises, the pain point, what emotion it's evoking, what belief it's targeting, right? So it's going to basically give you the whole breakdown on what the ad is doing and why it works, okay? And then it's going to find the gaps. So basically, it's going to think about angles in your market that nobody is really running, or that haven't been considered, right? And then finally, it's going to write specific scripts and ads that are tailored to your product or your website or whatever you gave it as an input in the beginning. And it's going to output 20 different things here, okay? And then it's going to land in a Notion database, or like an ad vault that you can keep using over and over, and it'll just eventually you can fill it with more and more ads over time, and you'll just have more data points to, make new ads or come up with different angles or whatever it is you want to do. Okay, so that's essentially how it works in a nutshell. And so now I'm going to actually run you through how to download it, and then we'll do a run together, and then at the end you can go ahead and try it for yourself. Okay, so when you go to the link below, you'll get the download zip file in your email, and it'll be a file like this. All you have to do is just double click it and you'll get this folder. Okay, and then what you want to do with this folder is open up a Claude session, and you're going to want to be in Claude code, by the way. So this is the Claude desktop app, and you're going to be in Claude code specifically, not the chat feature. Okay, and then when you're in here, we're going to go ahead and click this little icon and click open folder, and you're going to select the folder that was unzipped from the download. Okay, so once you select the correct folder, you're just gonna prompt Claude and say something like, start the winning ad thief. Okay, so once you start it, or you just say like run the winning ad thief, or like, hey, I'm running the winning ad thief for the first time, you're gonna get this welcome message. And like I said, it's just gonna ask you for what business we're setting up. So you could just paste in a website link, Facebook page, winning ad, or email, or you could just paste in or type in directly what you sell. So I'm gonna find a random e-commerce site just for the example here. Okay, so I'm gonna paste in this website, which is just this random supplement. I literally just found this on Google. After it finishes researching the brand, it's gonna tell you, it's basically just gonna break down what it is. And here you can adjust it if anything looks off, or again, if you wanna be more specific about a certain competitor, or I don't know, if you wanna change anything here, you can just basically prompt Claude. But we'll just say no, looks good. Great, okay. So next it's gonna ask you for the 2 API keys. So you're gonna go to the 2 URLs here, and you should have a Claude account. So I'll show you how to do that one, but if you don't have a script creators account, you should probably go make that first. But let's go ahead and let me show you how to actually just grab those keys. So click into here, and I want to make sure it's on the right browser profile. So here you're gonna see your API keys when you open this link, and all you're gonna do is just click create a key, and you can just name it anything, it doesn't really matter. And I would just say have it set the expiry to never, just so you don't have to keep changing it. I'm just gonna do 3 hours just so I can, so it expires after this video. And we're gonna just paste that into Claude. And then for script creators, it's pretty much the same thing. So with script creators, you get 100 credits when you first sign up. So you can play around with the workflow, with the automation a few times. And then you know, if you wanna keep using it, it's pretty cheap for the amount of credits you get. And this is a very useful tool just for like other scraping jobs. So here the API key is like right on the dashboard, so we're just gonna copy that. and then paste that in. Ideally, you wouldn't want to just paste your API keys in the chat like this, but it should be fine for now. I would just, after you're done with this, maybe go and rotate your API keys so that they're not in the chat, and then just paste them into the .env file manually. And if you don't know how to do that, I would just ask Claude how to do that. And then here it's asking one more thing. It's basically saying, would you like to make the ad vault, right? So if you want the Notion database, you can click this link, and I'll walk you through that right now. But if not, you can just have it output the ads, the scrape, as a document. But I would highly recommend to use the Notion template, just because it just looks a lot better, it's cleaner, and it's more organized. So we'll go ahead and do this real quick, or set this up. Okay, so when you actually click the link in your for Notion, you'll see this screen, and then just hit next, click allow access, and then it's going to give you this key, and you're just going to copy this key and paste it in the chat as well. Okay, so while Claude is working and doing the sweep, if you go to your Notion dashboard, you'll see that it added the Ad Vault template. And then in here, this is where you can navigate to the specific Ad Vault. And there's an example here. So you just ignore this one or delete it. And then this is what the new copy it comes up with. This is where it'll go. So right now we're still just waiting for it to finish. So once it's done running, it took about 5 to 6 minutes, and I think that's mainly because of it had to like analyze all the ads and stuff. So if you want it to be faster, you can just have it not do the analysis, and you can just prompt the chat for it to do that. And then, okay, so let's just kind of go through what it outputted. If we go back to the Notion workspace here, you'll see that now there's this fresh ads, menopause, blah, blah, blah. And then in the ad vault, we have the 30 new entries of the ads that it scraped that have the highest impressions over the last 30 days. And so if we click here, we can go to the specific link, and
you brought some of your favorite products.
If you want to like reference these individually or go watch them, and then it tells you who the advertiser is, it tells you what ad angle they're using, it tells you how many days have the ads have been running, the hook type, and then the niche. It didn't fill out the impressions, but they are already filtered by the most impressions. Also, I don't think it can actually get the specific impression, so we might have to remove that. But so if we go back to the actual copy output, here again, it'll tell you what the dominant angles are in more detail. It'll tell you the patterns for the hooks, and then it'll tell you, what the offers are, the call to actions. It breaks down the awareness level for the batch of ads you did, and then it tells you like what you could potentially do to innovate. Although I would probably just focus on what's already working, but if you want to get experimental, you could always just use these as new marketing angles. So then it writes 5 different UGC scripts. Some of these, I'm not going to go through them, but there's some good ideas in here, some good copy, and same with the statics. And if you're running this for a client, this is like a great deliverable you can give them, or even like a lead magnet, and just be like, hey, look at I did the competitor research for your brand, and then here's what they're doing. Here's some scripts you could use today. And if I got this as a client, I would be very, very impressed with the amount of research that went into this. And you got this output for just a few cents, right? So it's very, very helpful. And compared to like, using a spy tool or something like that, you're not going to get the analysis on the spy tool. So this, in my opinion, is more helpful for understanding what your competitors are doing exactly with their ads. So that's pretty much it with this workflow. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate a like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any questions, or if you're having trouble getting this to run or anything like that. I look at all the comments, and so yeah, and if you want to try it for yourself, the link is down below. Just put in your email so I know where to send it, and then you'll get it in your inbox. Just follow the steps in this video and you should be good to go.